You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and every week here on Sundays between 11 and 12, you can hear Houston Real Estate Radio all over the Houston market. And we are talking about what a hot market it is. So many things going on right now in the Houston market. The prices are just going up, and there are so many buyers out there buying right now. The demand is so high. We've got multiple offer situations all over the city. So it's really a fantastic hot market. And as we head into the summer season, I know there are going to be a lot more home buyers out there and a lot more sellers getting their houses on the market. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in real estate, and certainly an exciting time to be a seller or a buyer. Right now on the show, I've got Erin Lance calling in. She is the Vice President of Mortgages over at Zillow. Zillow is a huge website that I'm sure you've heard of. Lots of consumers go there to look for homes and to look into mortgage information. So Erin has called into the show to tell us about what they have to offer on the Zillow site for people looking for mortgages and for houses, and to tell us and to talk about this market because it is so crazy. You really want to make sure you've got that pre-approval before you start looking for houses, right, Erin?
That's right.
You know, I know our Houston market is so hot, but really across the nation, I mean, home starts are up and home prices are rising. So it's an exciting time to be in real estate.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's a good time because things are moving so quickly for people to really get educated and prepared up front because once they start this process, it can become a whirlwind.
Yeah. So, Erin, you're out in Seattle where Zillow is based. And you guys help consumers all over the country. Is that right?
That's right. We're national based. We're headquartered here in Seattle, but we cover every city in the country.
And you guys are a media company. You're not a real estate company. You're not a mortgage company. You're a media company, right?
Yep, that's right. It's an important thing to note because I think a lot of people get confused about that.
Yeah.
But our mission is to connect home buyers with professionals who can help them with everything related to their home, whether it's buying a home, financing their home. And so we bring in consumers to our site, and then we try to connect them through various advertising products to the best real estate and mortgage professionals out there.
And I believe, if I've heard correctly, Zillow is now the number one place to look for homes in our Houston market. That's what I've heard. HAR was, and I've heard that y'all have outranked HAR. Is that true?
Well, I'm not sure which stats you're looking at exactly, but we have been on a growth tear. So
yeah.
we are pretty large in every major market.
So
a very exciting time.
About 2 million people apply for look for mortgages and mortgage information on your site per month. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe the last 12 months we had 21 million loan requests, so almost 2 million people each month coming to Zillow looking for mortgages. We've got a few different things that they're coming for. One is just education. We have a mortgage education center and a whole bunch of calculators to help people understand how much can they afford, what would my payments be, and play around with those different scenarios. Another thing that we have is what we call our marketplace, Zillow Mortgage Marketplace, where consumers can compare quotes on an apples-to-apples basis between hundreds of different lenders who compete on rate and through their reviews. We've got over 75,000 lender reviews. So for consumers who are trying to figure out who's the best professional for me to work with, how do I narrow it down, what kind of service can I expect, it's a really great place for them to get a lot of information and make a good choice. And then we also have a pre-approval product where consumers could come to Zillow and be matched with a lender in their area and get a pre-approval letter from that lender on our site in minutes. And that's really important in a hot market like Houston, where having that letter in hand when you show up at the open house and if you're interested in putting an offer in really demonstrates to the seller that you're serious, demonstrates to the agent that you're serious, and lets you act fast when you're ready to buy.
And you have to have that because right now when you go look at, I know the other day I was out showing houses and we had to wait on the curb for 20 minutes because there were 3 realtors in line ahead of us to go see the house.
Oh my gosh, wow. That's crazy.
You know, the people are walking out of the house going, yep, we're going to make an offer on this. And the next one comes out, yep, they're talking about it too. And I'm like, wow, so you have to be ready. You have to have that pre-approval ready. It's got to be already with your realtor so that they can just write that contract and get it sent over to the seller or the seller's agent, rather.
Right. And I think it helps your relationship with the agent, too, to start out on the right foot, so you're both on the same page with what can you afford, what homes are in your price range, and really make the best use of everybody's time. Mm-hmm. And then you're right, once you're there and you have to make a split-second decision because the market's so hot, then if you have that letter ready to go, it just makes things a lot easier. And it also puts you in a position of being more confident, right? You've talked to a lender, you've done the numbers, you have a sense of what your payment's going to be. You've had a chance to ask the scary questions, what's the interest, all these types of things, which I think are a little bit overwhelming, and especially when you're in a fast-paced market. Having done a little bit of homework up front, I think puts you in a much more confident and comfortable position.
What should people expect when they're getting pre-qualified? We talked about some of those scary things. I find that some people don't want people digging into their finances, and when you get a mortgage, you really do have to open up the book. I mean, you have to put your cards on the table, and it can be a little intimidating.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion and debate around what each of the different steps are and what the different terms mean. I think the best way to think about it is if you're going to buy a home, unless you're going to pay with cash, you're going to need a mortgage. Mm-hmm. And so, what are the things that it takes to get a mortgage, to get a lender to approve you for a mortgage? And like you said, there's a whole bunch of information about your financial history, your credit history, your residence history, that lenders are going to want to know about, especially for the last 2 years. And they're going to ask you a bunch of questions about it, and they're going to ask you to provide documentation so that they can verify that everything that you said is true. So last 2 years, pay stubs, tax returns in some cases, and residential history, your credit report, all of those things. It's a different time than what used to be years ago, when other people might have had experience getting a mortgage, and that was kind of, you just got on the phone and there was very little that you had to provide. Mm-hmm. I think consumers today should just expect to have all their paperwork ready, their income, their assets, their credit, and have an honest and candid conversation with their lender from the very beginning, and just get it all over with up front.
I think that is some good advice. And I know you have lots of great advice on the website for people who want to just get educated about it and get information about it. I know for first-time home buyers, the first-time home buyers that I've worked with, they have done a lot of research up front before they ever even contact a realtor. It's something that they've been contemplating for. Some of them, they've contemplated it for 2 years before they ever even start looking for a house. And I think that education is what we're all about here at Houston Real Estate Radio, because you, as consumers, they want so much information, and if you're not the person giving them that information, they're going to go to someone who will.
Right. I mean, buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions that most people ever make. Mm-hmm. And so, in today's world where there's so much information at your fingertips, I think it really does pay to do your research and get educated.
Yeah.
All of that said, part of what we believe at Zillow is there's a bunch of information that you can access on your own, that everyone should be able to access and research and figure out on their own. But it's a super complicated transaction, and it's something that you don't do every day, you don't do every year.
Right.
And so there's a really important role that real estate agents and lenders and other professionals provide to just navigate through that process. That's what they're there for. They're professionals for this complicated transaction. So
and it changes.
There's really the balance between doing the work on your own, taking advantage of the access to the data that's out there, but then getting advice from a professional.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And it's always changing. The rules, the lending rules change, the market changes. There's so many things that change. You really have to talk to someone who knows their market and knows lending to be able to help you. And then you need a good realtor who also knows the market and knows real estate, selling real estate. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle when you're buying a home.
Absolutely.
Well, what year did Zillow start? I know y'all been online a long time. When did y'all begin?
We began back in 2005, and then we started Zillow Mortgages in 2008.
And y'all have lots of calculators and lots of educational information on the site. I know our listeners out there have heard of Zillow because I know they're searching for homes on Zillow, but they may not be aware that you guys have all this mortgage information on there as well.
Yep, that's right. I mean, we have been around for a while, but we're definitely not the first thing that most people think about yet when they think about mortgages. Zillow started with a Zestimate. We put a value on every home in the U.S., and that's what people came to know Zillow for. And I think now people are knowing us as a core home shopping site. But we also have a very vibrant mortgage marketplace. We're the largest rental listing site on the web too. So yes, we have a lot of work to do to make sure that kind of a broader audience understands what Zillow is about.
All right.
The estimate, but about everything for the home.
Well, thank you, Erin. Appreciate this great information. Erin Lance with Zillow, the Vice President of Mortgages over at Zillow.